What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. I seem to be spitting them out quickly now on stable coins, and particularly a different option that you might be able to use. I've had some email exchanges with some people about this, and I just want you to get, again, thinking differently about where you're putting your money and making sure that they're in appreciating assets versus those are in depreciating assets. And if they're depreciating, they're probably not assets at all. So keeping that in mind. Outline, I'm going to go over fiat stablecoins, what they look like. I'm going to go over something a little bit different, which is a gold stablecoin. And then I'm going to give some mathematical examples to kind of tie it all up at the end. This is just another option good for you to preserve some wealth rather than lose the value on that wealth that you're trying to invest in. So it's important to understand, I think, the definition of the words that we use, and particularly fiat, for those that don't understand, is cash that's decreed by the government for you to use. There's user laws that you have to abide by the Federal Reserve notes in order to transact daily. And the reason for this is because there are people way up the chain that make a lot more money and exert a lot more influence, or in this case, power, by using those fiat dollars and by having us chase them around all the time. And they inflate. And we just keep chasing them around trying to earn more. We can't wonder, and we start to wonder why we can't get ahead in a lot of ways. And the official definition of fiat is a formal authorization or decree. Well, what's the definition of decree? Decree is an official order issued by a legal authority. So what fiat currency is money, currency, not necessarily money, formally authorized by a legal authority, otherwise known as the United States government. And I even like to look at the etymology and in history of the word. It goes back to Latin fieri, to be done or made. So this is something that's by force in order to keep the system going that we've become used to, that we really don't have control over. And it's done in a way where it's invisible to the naked eye. My goals have always been to make the invisible visible in these areas. And fiat currency is not a market phenomenon. Money and exchange of money has always been a market phenomenon. In the earliest days, we can go back to gold and silver. We could even go to the Marco Polo years of certain spices being measured out in grams and ounces in order to transact and be used as currency. And even as recently as probably still happening today, recently as 25 years ago, the cocaine was actually used in the outskirts of Colombia as a means of exchange. They would weigh cocaine in grams, and that would be how groceries were bought and durable goods and the day-to-day items because of the value of cocaine in those markets, whether they were underground at all. And there were no, drug abuses of it because it was worth more as a powder to carry around as currency than it was going up somebody's nose. The only people's nose that went up to were U.S. stockbrokers because the insatiable need for it was that great. So if there's a demand for something, there will be something to supply for it in that case. Fiat is not that. Fiat is rapidly depreciating. As you hold it in your hand, it's worth less than when you put it in your wallet an hour ago than it is today. Now, the examples of some stable coins that are in fiat: USDC, United States Digital Coin, USDT, otherwise known as Tether, and even recently RLUSD from mid-December of last year, issued by Ripple. And there's risk with this. The primary one is inflation risk because the reserves have to be on hand to keep those coins pegged to that dollar on a one-to-one basis. But it says one-to-one on your screen, and you put 1,000 in, and it's 1,000 next week, and it's 1,000 2 weeks from now. But that 1,000 buys you less and less the longer you leave it in there in that fiat system. So keeping that in mind, if you can't wrap your head around inflation or haven't been able to, I did 2 videos on this a while ago. They're long, they're lengthy, they're not the most exciting things, but it really bears down on what you're looking at and how the government uses the unlubed red, white, and blue dildo to take care of you on the fiat currency side. Secondary risk is regulatory risk. There's a serious issue where if Ripple or Tether or USDC, in that case, issuing that does depeg from the dollar itself. They don't have enough dollars in reserve to handle the amount of coins that are on the open market. It's no different than the inflationary methods that the Federal Reserve uses in a lot of ways. So there are risks by leaving it in there, and I will argue, at least by the end of this, that short term is fine, couple days, couple weeks, but anything longer than that, you might as well look for something that's going to preserve wealth and stabilize. And that's where I'm going to go to with the next slide. Now, gold as a stablecoin, this is the first window we're looking into. If you haven't been able to wrap your head around it on tokenization, I did a video on tokenization, but that was for real estate. Here, we're going to try to wrap our heads around it on assets and precious metals and commodities. So Pax Gold, P-A-X-G, Paxos Gold, it's a stablecoin. The earliest data I found was January 2020, when gold was worth $1,500 an ounce. And one Pax Gold coin, cryptocurrency that you buy, just like every other cryptocurrency, is equal to 1 ounce of gold. So in 2020, if you put $1,500 into your Pax Gold coin, because you had 1 ounce and you had 1.0 Pax G coins in your Uphold account, by 2025, you're now looking that same Pax Gold is now 29.20. Now, these are not designed to grow long term, but it is designed to preserve. And I'm going to show some math examples and data that shows you how Pax Gold has preserved wealth if you were heads up enough to recognize tokenization 5 years ago and where it could lead to now. The biggest risk you're going to see is market fluctuations of precious metals. Some people, and we've been kind of socialized to this, particularly from the banking industry, they have a comfort of putting money somewhere on January 1st and never touching it. And then December 31st of that same year, it's the same number in there. They put $100, they put 1,000, they put 10,000 in there. They're going to see 10,000 at the end of the year. You don't get that when you're dealing with gold or any precious metal because of the fluctuations in it. However, the weaker the dollar is, the more rise you're going to see on this gold side and also the other precious metals as well. So just keep that in mind. If there's talk about lowering interest rates and flooding dollars, that gold will respond to that accordingly, and that response will be up, as opposed to the value of your dollars, which will be down. Now, Paxos Gold as a stable coin, you can redeem for physical gold. Now, you can do this to the tune of 430 ounces or more. This is not, somebody's broke ass coming in with $35 in gold coin, and then they want to redeem that $35. No, you gotta have some skin in the game for this. However, the fact that they have self audits of how much gold they have on hand on a monthly basis, they do these audits and attestations, which they publish right on their website. If you are a serious heavy investor, and that 430 ounces right now is about 1.2 million. So you have to have some skin in the game in order to reserve that for physical gold. You can redeem it if you have 430 Paxos coins or more, let's say. Again, they have monthly audits performed on their gold inventory. That's the website there. You can Google it, and they will take you right to it. You can read their white paper as well. And the key with this is, if there are more ounces of gold than there are coins, it's good. The moment those audits start showing more coins than gold that they have in their inventory, then you got to start asking some questions and probably pulling your money out. Haven't seen it yet with any of their audits. They always have more gold on hand than they do the coins that are distributed. So that's the key thing. Otherwise, Paxos Gold is just another inflationary thing where they just start issuing a bunch of different coins above the inventory that they have in. They're trying to do it the opposite of the way the federal government currently operates. And you can purchase these on Coinbase Wallet, not Coinbase, but Coinbase Wallet. Uphold has Pax G as well. It's built on Ethereum blockchain, so you can actually store it on your Ledger Nano wallet if you create an account for Pax G. I'm going to give you some mathematical examples to put this in perspective, because at the end of the day, we want our money to be preserved, and that's understandable. So let's compare 5 years ago, January 2020, right before the COVID's virus came about, up until last month, January 2025. What happens if you bought one Paxos Gold coin in January of 2020 and put $1,500 in? You have 1.0 Pax G worth $1,500. And then maybe, let's say, your best friend across the street decided to buy USDC for $1,500. What would that look like today? Well, 1 ounce of Pax G today not only preserved your $1,500, but it grew it almost to double. You'd be having 1.0 Pax G coin is now worth $2,920. exchangeable on every other exchange and brokerage account that we use. If you wanted to cash it out, you could. You just doubled your money, great. But the goal of it is designed to preserve your wealth. Now, fiat dollars, because of inflation for the past 5 years, the inflation rate, I think, between that 5-year period is about 22%. So your 1,500 is only worth about 78% of what you first put it in. So now that 1,500 is only worth 1,170. Your USDC still says 1,500 in it. Let's not mistake this. This is where the insidious nature of this comes in. You still see the 1,500, but can only buy $1,170 worth of shit that you could have bought in 2020. So that's a difference between a deflationary asset, which is PAX-G, and an inflationary asset like fiat currency, because now it's only worth 78% of the value. And this is what gold has done since January 2020. As you can see, the market risk, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. But I put 1,500 in. Well, that middle part is about September 2022. And I'll show you what the numbers are as low as it went once you put your 1,500 in, is that the lowest it got September 22 was 1618. So it went up, 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 then down, 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 up, down, down, down. And today we're sitting here on the right-hand side, $2,920. So remember, it's not designed to grow your money, although it can do that just based on this example. It's designed to preserve your wealth. And if you put 1,500 in, you're not going to have 1,500 tomorrow. Could go down, could go up based on the fluctuations of the precious metals market. But look what it did. It went up to the point where it at least preserved that 1,500 you put in and then doubled it at the end. Lowest price it hit, 1618 in the past 5 years. So some final thoughts on this. A fiat stablecoin, I always say it could be good for short term. You're doing some trading during this bull run and you want to capture value, putting it into USDC. It's not the end of the world. RLUSD, not the end of the world. It's still a fiat currency. And you leave it in there long term, months, years, you can see what happens to it. The value of it depreciates, but at least captures in a mathematical sense whatever earns you did have. If you run XRP up to $7, $8, $9 this bull cycle and you want to capture it, shove it into RLUSD or USDC. I'm not going to go too much into the stuff that Tether is all about, but you can do enough research on Google to see why Tether may not be the best option for you to put that in as a stablecoin. Now, a gold stablecoin, here we go with the preserving wealth side. If you think you want to capture your wealth through this bull run for a longer period of time than a couple of weeks, might not be a bad idea. PAX-G is a good alternative to that because it not only stabilizes it, but as you can see, it also grew it a little bit too. And this could be the window into the future with tokenization with other assets. This is a good primer for you to get used to of what tokenization may look like. Think of silver. There may be coins out there for silver. I haven't researched it. I don't know. Right now, it'd be $32. Platinum, over $1,000. Palladium, just under $1,000. So if you haven't wrapped your head around tokenization yet from a practical day-to-day standpoint, buying some PAX-G as a gold stablecoin might be your first window into that. I did a tokenization video with real estate. The same concepts with equity and tokenizing it can be used for these precious metals. And then definitely you have one available on Uphold and Coinbase Wallet that you can play around with PAX-G as well. So I hope this was helpful, enlightening, all that other fun stuff. As a reminder, I mentioned this on the last video, I am going to do a Zoom call this Sunday. I think it's the 16th. I think it's going to be about 7 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to send out some instructions on that to email me if you're interested, so I can send you the link. I'm not going to broadcast and announce it. I'm really only keeping it for this kind of community, tight-knit, close, small, so we can go through so many questions that are burning on your mind that I may be able to answer. And if I can't answer them, to be honest with you, I'll admit that too. I'm not here to bullshit you. So I hope this is helpful. Hope this is enlightening. Good luck, everybody. Giant hugs.